Right, guys, I am here with a very special guest today. This is going to be a slightly different video. What I did is I recorded some gameplay footage where myself and Disowned were playing a ranked game about VG Silver level, and I thought I'd record it with his perspective mixed with my perspective so I can bring him into the game. For those of you that don't know Disowned, I'll let him introduce himself.
Yeah, hi, thanks Excoundrel for having me. I'm Disowned, I'm the mid laner for Team QLASH. And yeah, this was a good game, so let's just hop right into it.
Right, I'm going to press play so we can have a look through. As you can see, we are kind of following Disowned here. He starts off with the Book of Eulogies and the Crystal bit. Now, it might sound obvious, but Disowned, why did you go for the Crystal bit? Sorry, the Book of Eulogies in this matchup.
I would build a Book of Eulogies on any sort of hero like Anka in the mid lane, like especially stuff like Reza. Just because you just need to sustain, you're most of the time going to be facing like a range matchup. So in this case, Samuel Lorelei is super oppressive.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah,
and
you
can
just
see
need that book.
Yeah, definitely. And you can see the Catherine also went for the Iron Guard as well, so you've got like plenty of sustain in that lane. You can see just from my perspective here, I'm playing with Leon in the bot lane, I'm playing Batiste jungle. We're essentially doing a very normal thing, which is where you just take away the enemy healing camp. We then go and push another couple of waves in, then clear our own red side jungle. Disowned, what are you doing right now on the map? You can see you're moving into the blue side jungle with the Catherine.
Yeah, so this is the kind of standard rotation at, I guess, high elo or VG Silver Gold. Elo is... just because of the way the map sort of laid out at the minute, you basically swap blue buffs with the enemy mid laner and then head back to lane. Unfortunately, their top laner took the back camp, so I'm still not level 2 yet. So really good job from him. But yeah, you just have to be super careful early game when you're playing stuff like Anka against things like Samuel. So you can see most of the laning phase, I'll just be sort of chilling at the turret, doing my best to CS, and then taking the backs when I can. Yeah,
just because that ranged matchup's really difficult for you on Anka. Obviously, you're going to get harassed quite a lot, but you do have that sustain. Interestingly enough, the taking of those back camps from the Maline obviously denied your level 2, like you said. Actually put her massively behind because me and Leon shoved a couple of waves into turret, so she actually lost probably more experience from that trade-off than you lost overall. So realistically, that probably put the Maline behind more. But obviously, as an Anka in a poor matchup, that's not a great position for you to be. You don't want to be falling too far behind the Samuel.
Yeah, and we'll start to see it. I mean, I think he hits level 4 and I'm still level 2, you know. So this is actually kind of a rough early game. You can see now by my positioning, I can't go near this guy, this double buffed Samuel. So you just have to, you know, respect when you're strong and respect when you're weak. So obviously I'm just going to be staying at max range, CSing with my A and letting the wave crash, which is fine to do.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, for a lot of those people in like tier 4, tier 6, how do you deal with the kind of range discrepancy? Is it just letting that wave shove into the mid lane and you're just trying to farm as best you can?
You just have to know when to give up CS. So I actually made a bit of a mistake by taking too much damage, giving them the chance to dive me. But you know, I guess I played that okay, dodging the Samuel A's and stuff. So I managed to come away surviving, but yeah, you just have to be respectful and not try and CS every single creep when you know that, you know, you could be dying for it.
Leon traded his life with the Maline there, but it's not so bad because I can shove that in myself. But actually, you did a really good set of sidestepping under that turret there. You managed to dodge pretty much everything that was thrown at you. So
yeah, I thought I was dead at the time for sure, but you know, when Fortress uses his first initial bit of burst, especially at low levels, they don't have too much follower damage, so it was nice for me to survive. Yeah, you can see now I've just hit level 4 and Samuel's 5, so I'm trying to scoot over to the blue buff and try and catch up a bit, but at this point I'm kind of a little bit nervous with how the game was. I remember telling you at the time. Because obviously when you're playing stuff like Anka, you want to get a couple of points in your B and start shoving your waves and rotating to lanes to pick up kills. But this is not one of the games where I've got the ability to do that just because of how far ahead the Samuel is.
So what point is Anka strong then? When are you waiting to be able to go aggressive? Because obviously you're going to be behind Samuel in terms of experience for quite a while, but when are you waiting to go aggressive? This is where you went into the enemy jungle, by the way.
Yeah, you sort of just have to pick your moments. Like I saw Fortress on a ward and thought I could capitalize and take the kill, and then obviously the jungle was up, but the Samuel actually does a really nice job here, just facing me in with the low health bar of the red buff. And he finishes me off, so a really nice job from him. But the initial roam where I went and took out the fortress, that's the kind of thing you want to be doing, you know, especially when you have wards in the enemy jungle and you spot people on the hill camps or the gold oaks, you know. With Anka, you can surprise them with super high burst really fast and just close the gap.
Yeah.
And try and pick up those free kills. And that kill was actually massive for me. Even though I died, it let me pick up that 200, 300 gold or whatever.
And that gives you a mini spike in lane at this point in time then.
Yeah, exactly, yeah. So at this point in the game, I'm just waiting for level 6. If I was a bit further ahead, I'd be trying to do a bit more, but I really need my level 6 at this point, so I'm just, you know, I'm trying to see if I can steal this buff, which I don't. And you see, it puts me in a really bad position, so a bit of a mistake again from my part, but you see, that's Anka in a nutshell, what I just did there.
Just trade a little kill off. I remember actually booting over to try and help you, but you ended up not needing me at all. We try and collapse here. Me and Leon, by the way, if you're interested, have just been doing that same rotation over and over again, taking the healing camp, shoving the waves, doing our red side jungle. It was actually a really boring lane for me and Leon for the most part, because it's Leon. Leon just destroys everybody he goes up against in lane for the most part. So you actually got a really good opportunity to go into their blue buff here.
Yeah, I mean, I saw obviously the people topside and the pressure we had. I don't know what I was thinking here, you know, new hero, whatever, bit of a mistake. I think I actually got both back, so it's not the worst thing in the world.
You just got to say worth, right? You just got to say worth.
Just a tiny bit overzealous from me there, I would say.
I was thinking when I saw that happen, when I looked back at the replay, I was like, did you know Samuel was there? Like, did you know a full health Samuel was doing those backs? But it was...
Yeah, I think, like I said, testing my limits, clearly just completely misjudged it, but you know, it is what it is. I was kind of excited because I was starting to get back into the game because I thought, you know, especially when you're playing stuff like Anka and you get super behind early, it's never looking too good. But yeah, you saw that I took the opportunity when I could, surprised Samuel, got that kill, killed the fortress as well, and suddenly I'm in like an okay spot. Yeah, still a bit behind in XP, but
you picked up a Shatterglass though, right? So that's your first big item spike for Anka.
Yeah.
And what are you going to try and do with this now? Obviously, our top lane was kind of inting a little bit on Ringo.
Yeah,
but...
so I was obviously roaming up to try and help, but like I said, you need to pick your opportunity. You should pick your moments when you're on the assassins like the Anka and the Rezzer, and that just wasn't it. So I just let it off, clear the wave, and you know, try and look for a better one.
I don't know why I highlighted that I just died there, by the way. I skipped over to my dead body, just in case you didn't see. We tried to turret dive the Malign, and I just got killed. Alright, so the first time in this game, it looks like you've got the opportunity to go straight for your blue buff here. Are you pretty confident at this point?
Yeah, I mean, they're clearly trying to contest it, but Anka has good secure, so I'm hoping I get it. I should be.
Yeah, you do.
Yeah, there you go. And then there's an opportunity. Fortress overextends, trying to get my blue.
That was sick, by the way. That little juke there.
Yeah, I mean, Anka's super mobile. You've got to wait for them to use the CC and try and avoid it. And obviously, there's a lot of low health targets here, so this should be easy pickings. I would imagine. Yeah. We'll see how it plays out. Oh, whoops.
Yeah, so we end up cornering them behind our turret. I see the fortress backing in this. I just literally just go slap them in the face with the scythe. That's an easy kill. Mm-hmm. I think you end up also being able to pick up this Samuel.
Yeah. I think we get him.
I think I get him, actually. Oh, no. Yeah, I do. And I think we almost get this Baron as well. I think you're very, very... Yeah, you do. Such good burst. So we basically... That was a massive swing for us in the game, and also gives you a huge amount of gold. I mean, you work into second on Anka.
So I've been trying a couple of different builds, and I still haven't decided on my favorite, but I was currently using the I'm the Doom build, which is Shatterglass into Aftershock, and then into a Broken Myth and a Spellfire to finish, with a Slumbering Husk picked up at some point. You don't really need a block on Anka, so I would say pretty much always going to be going for a Slumbering Husk, because obviously you can use your ultimate sort of to avoid the CC. Super unlucky there. You see what I tried to do. It's very similar to the way Alpha works with her A when you A onto the turrets, and you can sort of jump, and it's like a really reliable way of getting through. So the idea was correct there, but obviously Fortress 1 HP, what can you do?
So they got a really good block on my ultimate there, but Leon is like super strong at this point, so we just essentially clean up their the majority of their team. Lorelei boots away. It was a good collapse. We knew they'd all collapsed on you to the jungle. We didn't expect them to come towards their jungle shop, so we kind of got that for free. But yeah, you're right. Using the A and creative waves is a good part of Anka's kit. We saw earlier you basically dodged the Samuel ultimate with your A, and that's another way of dodging out and not needing a reflex block. Just so mobile, Anka doesn't need a huge amount of defensive capabilities because a lot of her kit does that for her.
Yeah, exactly. You just have to be mindful of your cooldowns, more so on heroes like Anka than others.
What other builds have you been trying out, by the way, just for the sake of the audience?
So I've been mixing in the always Shatterglass first. I think it's needed, but mixing in like the Clockwork, especially instead of the Aftershock.
So it's a slightly different playstyle, isn't it? Because you kind of hold your basic attack if you don't have the Aftershock.
Yeah, that's why I sort of prefer the Aftershock. Really, I do think it's the better build. But yeah, as I said, experimenting, so we'll see. Leon just going ham here.
Yeah, so I think you did a huge amount of burst damage, and Leon managed to pick everybody off on the backline, and then we get their blue buff. I mean, at this point in the game, we are in a really strong position because we are clearing out their jungle. We're starting to push turrets. And you've really come back from that pretty tough laning phase that you had as well.
I was just going to mention that this is something that I think a lot of people can sort of take note of, is how respectful I was early game. Like, I didn't die, other than the mistake at like level 6 or 7, but I wouldn't really consider that the early game. When I mean the early game, I mean the early laning phase, where obviously it's a horrendous matchup versus Samuel and Lorelei, and I just, I didn't ever give them a chance to kill me, even though I did lose some levels and was obviously behind. It clearly isn't a big deal if you can still be part of the game.
So you went pretty ham here. Unfortunately, you didn't get a Crucible on the Samuel sleep, but we're just really strong, so we're just pushing into their jungle. You dive over, and unfortunately, poor Keys here almost goes down.
Yeah, the amount of times people live with 1 HP when you play this hero is kind of annoying, not gonna lie.
So you actually went pretty ham and dived the turret, but I think you actually paid for it, but I'm pretty sure Leon cleans up the majority of the fight.
Yeah, I mean, this is the thing. Anka is the kind of hero where if you're because you're fully dive, there's not really another way of playing the hero. So if you go and die, but you do 70% of 3 people's HP bars, and get like the first kill or second kill of the fight, and then you have a Sky or a Vox or whoever else your bot laner to finish off the fight, you're sort of doing your job really. Yeah, that kind of changes late game because it's not as easy to burst, but this is obviously the power spike for Anka right now, the sort of 10 to 12 minute mark. It's where you really need to start trying to make some moves on the map, which is what we've been doing.
So you're super powerful in the mid game. 2-item spike is really big for Anka. And we have been looking to be aggressive in their jungle. I've kind of been playing like a supplementary role here. Obviously just trying to get good ultimates off. That's the one thing I'm pretty decent at Batista. You go ham on this engage though, holy moly.
Yeah, really nice block on the capturing silence from the enemy, but I see my chance to hit the support, and then Samuel's dead as well. And this is the power of Anka when you start getting your resets. Missed my A on the minion, that was kind of troll, but the whole general idea of you get that first kill, and then you essentially win the team fight if you keep landing your A's, because they just can't deal with it, especially when you take their frontliner out first. Like, you really need a good support to be able to help.
So just survive a good flask from the
a really nice flask from Baron.
Yeah. He does eventually go down. I think Leon dived him with the Suri strike there. But yeah, I mean, you're seeing how much damage you're doing at this middle portion of the game. It's pretty insane, and this is kind of where Anka shines. And if you can continue to look to be aggressive, and I think that's one of the things that a lot of Anka players might not do. You held your aggression until your power spike in the mid game, and then you just started going ham as fuck all the time, so it's,
exactly.
It's really important.
You've got to identify when you're strong, and I feel like I actually feel like I did a really good job of that in this game. Other games not so much, but yeah, this one I really made the most of my power spikes, and that essentially led us to get to a really nice point in this game so far.
And luckily Leon as well just had a really, really solid laning phase, obviously, as you'd expect. And even when your damage starts to fall off, like, Leon scales quite well into the late game on this Sky, so...
Yeah, I don't think Anka's scaling is much of an issue. I just think the way you have to play her is slightly different in the late game.
Yeah, well, I think it's because defensive items often come a little bit later into the game, so when husks start getting built up, it really limits what you can do, so you have to pick your moment a bit better.
Yeah, exactly.
I think you just picked up a double kill on the bottom side, a triple kill on the bottom side of the map here. I can't actually remember what happened at that fight. I was a little bit of a mistake on my...
It's a shame you missed that one, because that was... I think I played that one quite well, if memory serves. But Baron again, and we get him with the fadeaway A. Max range now.
The max range. And that's really important, something that we talked about. A lot of people say, oh, you know, do I overdrive my ult or do I overdrive my A? Well, the range on the A is so important, I feel, to Anka that you have to overdrive it.
Yeah. So the general way I do, and I know I can kill Malene here, but in the end it turns out that it's not worth it, even though it's kind of nice to kill someone when you're 1 HP. But yeah, for Anka, I would always do max my B first, because you need it for the burst, you need it for the lane clear, the wave clear, and I would always put a second point in my ultimate at level 9.
Yep.
And then I would overdrive my A. I think the rank 2 ulti is needed, but the range on the A is just too nice late game for bouncing around the fight and doing what you need to do. Leon showing off a bit here, as he's known to do.
Yeah, Leon does like to style on people just a little bit. This was a bit of a meme fight, by the way, because we'd lost it, but I think we stayed a little bit too long. I can't remember if I survived this one. I don't think I do. I think it's the one after this one that I end up surviving. But we end up trading. I think they trade into the Samuel and the... yeah, we actually get the kill. I can't actually believe I survived that, actually. That's pretty insane.
Batiste sustain is kind of crazy, huh?
Yeah, well, it's a really simple hero for a really simple player. So, you know, it's actually Batiste is my go-to jungler because he really doesn't require much mechanical skill, which is one of my weakest points. I don't know why I stayed here, by the way. This was the meme. This was the meme escape. Like, I don't actually know why I stayed.
I had kind of questionable,
but it's okay. I ended up getting away. So what at this point, we're now 16 minutes into the game. You're hitting, because we've got that much of a lead over our opponents, it kind of extends your power spike, right?
Yeah, so I'm obviously going to be strong. I'm not sure. I think I was trying to get in range to use my A, so my ulti would go through everybody, but I messed it up slightly. However, obviously everybody's low targets. You can start getting the resets through here. You see how I'm always trying to use my A to dodge abilities, and when I don't have my cooldowns up,
that was a penta. That was a penta right there, right? If it just got a little bit luckier with the damage. I
made a tiny mistake there. I should have used my A on the turret, like I was talking about earlier. Like I tried to do here, but it was too late.
Yeah.
If I'd used my A on the turret the first time, I think I could have cleaned them all up. The reason you want to use your A on the turret is because unless you're, you know. Unless you, we'll say lag, but it's kind of hard to miss a turret, right? So
yeah, it's kind of
much harder to miss the turret than it is to hit the enemy heroes. So that's why it's super reliable to go for the turret, which is just a tiny mistake I made there. But the actual fight was played quite nicely, you know, using my A, dodging in and out of all the skill shots, and yeah, doing a lot of damage.
So we actually have neglected a lot of global objectives in this game, but I think it's just because we've been going so ham on the enemy team that we've been ending up all right. I think this is the point where Catherine and Ringo solo out Blacklaw and I do a Ghost Wing, so we do actually end up getting some global objectives here.
Well, I would say that Anka is not the best in terms of achieving global objectives. Nice survive there. I don't know if you guys paid attention or saw, but I used my ultimate to dodge the Malene route.
Yeah.
So, you know, I escaped there and bouncing over all the walls, which is a really nice mechanic you can use with Anka. So obviously I jumped to Blacklaw and then jumped over the wall to my blue buff, so I get away, even if I do bait my team a little bit.
It's fine. I mean, we kind of killed off the Catherine. This was a big play. You kind of went in, did some insane DPS, but didn't quite have the burst there.
Yeah, I think this is where they'd started to pick up some defensive items, and obviously the just miscalculation on my damage front. If my ult had been up maybe a second sooner, I could have maybe done something a little bit differently.
This was the chase that was a bit of a meme. I got sort of chased down by the Malene here.
Yeah, I mean he's built full damage, isn't he? Him.
So
nice block.
Yeah, it was a good block actually, but luckily I managed to get through this brush. They don't want to face check this brush. So I just managed to dodge that route, and with the Catherine, they just back out. I don't actually back off here, though, because I can see Leon's kind of out of position. So I'm like, well, maybe I can go and help Leon in this case. So I actually stay on low HP, thinking that a good Ordained or a good A could help Leon carry this fight. Which actually ends up being the case, I think. And you're chilling. You're chilling in a side lane now.
I actually remember I looked at the map, I saw Leon in a terrible position. I just assumed he was dead. And I saw obviously a huge wave top, so I thought I would clear that before it became an issue with us.
Yeah.
Props to him that he survived, as maybe I shouldn't have been surprised. But now we've got the side waves in a nice position, suddenly in top. I can't quite see him in bot. Yeah, in bot it's nice as well, which should be setting us up for some objectives. This is probably the best player of the game, I think, if I remember correctly.
Yeah.
Holding off on using my A's, and now I'm just getting the resets.
I don't know why I'm still following Leon here. I actually dodged to you, and there you go. This is where you start getting all those big resets.
Yeah, hitting some really nice A's, dodging the Lorelei stun. So obviously Baron, I'd killed Baron at Fortress by this point, and it was just clean up. Again, could have gone for the turret with my A. It's definitely something I need to work on.
Yeah, just in those situations,
and play
diving
around with a bit more.
Yeah.
I remember Leon telling me, he's like, go for the turret, which I'm obviously thinking of doing at this point. And there you see, you can instantly get on top of someone. Hit another A, and is he gonna die? Can't remember.
Yeah, I think you kill yourself. Oh no, you don't. You actually managed to get out just on the smallest amount of HP.
Yeah, it wasn't even close.
Not even close, mate. Not even close. And I think this is where we get our first armory. You do end up going down eventually, but regardless, that was a really nice team fight because you just got all those resets over and over again. And we managed to push into break their choke point turret, which is really important because now it opens up the base for us, gives us more space to work with. And Leon, again, like we know, is just super strong at this point. Like, probably way over-leveled, or sorry, way over-geared compared to everybody else in terms of items. And we just unleashed Black Claw. So this is where that Baron that was the worst positioning I've seen all game. Like, Baron probably threw the game completely for them. And now we push into the base. I actually don't think you feature in the rest of this game to go towards the bot lane. So...
I think I was dead, right?
Yeah, you were dead, and then we go to the bot lane, and this is just us cleaning up the game. Not much to say about it, really. We've got Black Claw, we're super strong, Leon's basically untouchable.
I think it is important to mention, when you're playing against Anka, you can definitely learn from this replay as well. You can't leave your carries isolated. Like there were times when, I was 1 HP and just diving in, doing a finishing 50% burst onto the Samuel and killing him for free and still surviving, So,
yeah,
unlike other heroes, even if you think they've disengaged, Anka can close the gap so fast. You have to really be, really be respectful and make sure that you're actually, especially as the support, backing up your carry so that, an Anka doesn't just come and one-shot your 60% health carry when he's 10%. Because, I did it many times in this game to the Samuel.
I think, like, if we ever I'll pause it here and we can talk about the item builds overall just at the end. I think it's really important versus an Anka to get that Slumbering Husk online as early as possible. Like, they had a CP Baron, so they basically threw the game from the start. But like, the only person that had a Slumbering Husk was Samuel, and he ended up being one of the hardest for you to kill. Like, if they had Slumbering Husks earlier on, you might have found it much more difficult in the mid game. You need to get Slumbering Husks online versus Anka because it kind of completely shuts down what she wants to do, right?
It shuts down her spike and stops her getting ahead. And if you do that, then Anka behind is obviously not the most useful hero. But yeah, you can see I died 7 times, but that's
Anka.
I almost want to say that's fine. Like I was clearly doing my job, even if I was sort of dying in the end of the team fights.
I mean, you commit when you're Anka, right? You commit to a team fight really hard. So if you die in the process and you trade one for that, you trade one of their really high late game carries. Like, let's say that was a weapon power Baron. You go in and you kill a weapon power Baron. You trade off versus Anka, get a bit of damage across the team. You've done your job, right? That's your job done.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, exactly.
I was basically playing support Leon game this time round. Obviously, you can see I ended up 6-2 and 7. I went. You might think why I went for this build. I went Slumbering Husk, Aegis, and then a kinetic shield. Simply because if you just look at the team, they've got no weapon power. Like, they had absolutely zero weapon power. They had they had Fortress Aftershock, they had Meline, they had CP Baron, and they had CP Samuel. So there was almost no point. I mean, I don't even know why Catherine has armor. I actually don't know why she has a piece of cloth armor there, or light armor. But I just went for max durability versus CP output. I think I probably had something like 200 shield, probably plus at the end of this game.
It is worth mentioning, though, I don't think this game would have been any different if Baron had been weapon power.
No, I think you'd have been able to do your job just the same, right?
Yeah, exactly. And I guess it kind of looks like Leon carried, but, you know, he was more cleaning up all the work that me and Excoundrel were doing. So, you know, don't give him too much credit.
We just
big enough ego.
we carry Leon, right? That's when we play with him.
Of course.
Had a 100% win record on this day as well. I think it was mainly down to me and Disowned. Leon was just there.
He was a bypasser.
He was a bypasser. Overall, I mean, there you go, guys. That's an insight into how a really high elo VG Gold player thinks. Although, are you VG Gold now? Did you hit it today?
I think I was one off. I think I was one off hitting it on my main. Yeah.
Oh,
so
mate.
Sad times.
Sad times. But, we were close, right?
We'll get there. We'll get there. And, thanks for having me on the channel and everything. Really appreciate it. Hopefully, I can stop by and do a couple more with you because this has been good fun.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I'm sure everybody on YouTube and I'd love to have you talk more about it because it's insight that I just don't have because I'm not as good as you. Right. Thank you very much, guys. And we will probably do another one of these. If you comment down below, maybe what heroes from the mid lane specifically, although Disowned can probably play anything, from the mid lane specifically, what you might like to see in the future covered about how a high elo player plays and builds and what they think about. Let me know, and I'll do the most upvoted comment. I'll make Disowned play that hero, as long as it's not CP Baron. As long as it's not CP Baron.
Or Saw. I'll just put that caveat in there. There's no Saw either.
No Saw either. All right, guys. Cheers. See you soon.
All right.